Merry meet and welcome to our stream, everybody. This is Ariel Gatoga, and we are streaming live on YouTube and on Twitch. Welcome to Psalmic Saturday. We are going to be doing a psalm spell momentarily. A couple announcements. First, we are streaming live on YouTube and on Twitch. Moderating today on YouTube is the lovely Shirley, and moderating on Twitch is the lovely Deline. Thank you so much, Shirley and Deline, and thank you to everybody for joining us for this Psalmic Saturday today. I hope you're having a wonderful day. If for some reason you're not, I hope that we can turn that around for you. I think we can. We are here every Saturday doing Psalm Magic, and we're here all the other days of the week except for Monday as well. So I hope you can join us each and every day. Just as a reminder, though, on Tuesday, instead of at 10:15 a.m., our streams are at 9:45 a.m. on Tuesdays only. We are off on Mondays. On Tuesdays, we have a tarot class, and then the magic streams Wednesday through Sunday, like I said, are at 10:15 a.m. All of those are in specific, very specific times. Pacific time. Let's see. We are, as I said, streaming on YouTube and on Twitch. If you happen to be watching on YouTube, please make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell. If you're watching on Twitch, please make sure you follow us on Twitch. And you can watch on Twitch without any ads by subscribing to us there. If you'd like to give us a donation, you can do that by going to paypal.me/Ariel Gatoga. Paypal.me/Ariel Gatoga. If you're watching on YouTube Live, you could use a super sticker or super chat if you prefer to give a donation and you want to stay on the platform. And if you're watching on a restream, you can do that same thing on YouTube by using a super thanks. We also have a shop, and that's at arielscornershop.com, arielscornershop.com. Those are all affiliate links in that shop, but we do have all the psalm books that I work with on Psalmic Saturday. So if you're looking for a psalm book, maybe consider shopping in our shop, because we do make a small commission off of each and every sale. We do appreciate your support. We are going to have a premiere directly following this today at 11 a.m. Pacific time. And we have chat threads open on both of the streams. So if you have any questions for me, you can put them right in the chat thread. I'll do my best to get to those questions before the end of the stream, but we do need to leave on time so that we're not late for our premiere. And I hope that you, please, could just join us for that premiere, because we love having you there. All right, so I guess that's everything that I need. So we can start with our psalm spell. Thanks again for joining us today. Oh, except for I forgot to get my psalm ready. Sorry about that. Hold on a second. Ariel, what's the deal? Okay, today, oh shoot, I'm sorry. Oh, by the way, we also have while I'm pulling this up, we have an online Psalter at ariels-corner.com/psalms. ariels-corner.com/psalms. So we have all 150 psalms, full text from the Authorized King James Version. And we also have attached to each of those the video that goes along with that psalm. So if you are working psalm magic and you need a little help, you can go through the psalm with me. So it makes it a lot easier. So that's a good thing. Okay, but I'm ready now. Today we are working Psalm 25. Psalm 25 is used for guidance in any matter, to receive forgiveness for anything, and for enlightenment, and it's also used to end an attack. Today we are going to use Psalm 25 for any kind of emergency. So if you are having an emergency, if there's just, you don't know where to turn, it's the 11th hour and you need help, this is a wonderful psalm to go for, to reach for if you're in that kind of a situation. The way we work psalm magic is very simple and very effective. We take the psalm in question and we repeat it out loud once without stopping. This is known in psalm magic very frequently as an incantation. Once you're finished with the incantation, you go back through that same psalm that you just spoke and you consider each verse in turn. And you really internalize it and you search and dig for the hidden occult meanings within each verse. We call those magic seeds. And by doing this, contemplating and digging and searching, what you're actually doing is taking those magic seeds that you find and planting them deeply in the fertile ground of your mind, where they take root and grow. They blossom forth and they bear fruit after their kind. And that's exactly what you and I are going to do right now together. Oh, I always do that. Turn off the meditation music from the rosary. Hold on a second. And I forgot to, I don't know what my deal was today. Sorry about that, everybody. I'm asleep at the switch here. Here we go. Psalm 25. Of course, it's Roman numerals. Okay, let's get that shot better. And that's exactly what you and I are going to do together right now with Psalm 25. Unto thee, O Lord, do I lift up my soul. O my God, I trust in thee. Let me not be ashamed. Let not mine enemies triumph over me. Yea, let none that wait on thee be ashamed. Let them be ashamed which transgress without cause. Show me thy ways, O Lord. Teach me thy paths. Lead me in thy truth, and teach me, for thou art the God of my salvation. On thee do I wait all the day. On thee do I wait all the day. Remember, O Lord, thy tender mercies and thy loving kindness, for they have been ever of old. Remember not the sins of my youth, nor my transgressions. According to thy mercy, remember thou me for the goodness' sake, Remember not the sins of my youth, nor my transgressions. According to thy mercy, remember thou me for thy goodness' sake, O Lord. Good and upright in the Lord. Good and upright is the Lord. Therefore will he teach sinners in the way. The meek will he guide in judgment, and the meek will he teach his way. All the paths of the Lord are mercy and truth unto such as keep his covenant and his testimonies. For thy name's sake, O Lord, pardon mine iniquity, for it is great. What man is he that feareth the Lord? Him shall he teach in the way that he shall choose. His soul shall dwell at ease, and his seed shall inherit the earth. The secret of the Lord is with them that fear him, and he will show them his covenant. Mine eyes are ever Mine eyes are ever toward the Lord, for he shall pluck my feet out of the net. Turn thee unto me, and have mercy upon me, for I am desolate and afflicted. The troubles of my heart are enlarged. O bring thou me out of my distresses. Look upon mine affliction and my pain, and forgive all my sins. Consider mine enemies, for they are many, and they hate me with cruel hatred. O keep my soul and deliver me. Let me not be ashamed, for I put my trust in thee. Let integrity and uprightness preserve me, for I wait on thee. Redeem Israel, O God, out of all his troubles. This opens up with, well, before we start how it opens up with, it's important to know that Psalm 25 is one of the acrostic psalms, which means that there are 22 verses in here, and each verse starts with, in Hebrew, a new letter of the Hebrew alphabet in order. And so this is one of those formulas, one of those magic formulas that utilize the Hebrew alphabet to bring about change. And so this is a wonderful psalm, like I said, if you're having any of the issues that are listed in here, such as guidance or receiving forgiveness, for enlightenment, for ending attack, or like what we're using it for today, which is in any kind of an emergency type situation. So it says, unto thee, O Lord, do I lift up my soul. So it means to us, first of all, who the Lord is. We have to orient ourselves to who the Lord is. It's always important that we orient ourselves to who the Lord is and what we're talking to, who we're addressing. And the Lord for us is the force of all creation. There's one source, one substance, one force in all the universe. And there's nothing to oppose it. There's nothing to thwart it. And there's nothing else but the Lord. And this is very helpful to understand when we're working psalm magic, because it gives us a sense of our invincibility when we are at one with the force that nothing can oppose. So we're not looking to our own ego sense of power, our own little separate selves. We're looking to the one force of the entire universe to do for us everything that we can't do for ourselves. And it says, I lift up my soul unto the Lord. Unto thee do I lift up my soul. It means we have to make the first move. A lot of times people say, well, if there's this infinite intelligence, then why doesn't it just fix everything for me? Because it's not going to violate your free will. When you were created as an expression of infinite intelligence, you were created with all of the goodies that come along with that, including free will. Now, free will for us is a bit of a curse, not a blessing, because of the way we misuse it. So we misuse our free will to think thoughts that are not in accordance with infinite intelligence, which we are at liberty to do. And so when we do that, we get the results of that, because the bottom line law of the universe is the law of cause and effect. So we have to make the first move, and that's how we do it. We lift up our soul unto the Lord. We're saying, not my will, but your will be done. Because what the secret of that is that our true will is one with infinite intelligence's will. We are co-creators with this force. And when we are at odds with the will of this force, we are not, in fact, working with our true will. We are working with a false will that we've convinced ourselves of. And that is the will of that small ego self. O my God, I trust in thee. Let me not be ashamed. Let not mine enemies triumph over me. So shame is a very powerful experience. And when we experience life through the eyes of guilt, what we automatically have is an expectation of punishment. So when you're feeling ashamed, when you're feeling guilty, you are expecting punishment from some source or another. And this sets up a world of fear. And then you start looking at the world through these fearful eyes, and through the law of cause and effect, you get what you put out. You get the fearful results of those fearful perceptions. So we're asking to be removed from that. We're asking to have that fear removed from us, that shame removed from us. I am not guilty. I do not feel guilty because I trust in your truth, is what we're saying. So let not mine enemies have triumph over me. Yes, you may have enemies in the physical world that are trying to triumph over you, and we're not discounting that. And we are going to take care of all of that with this psalm. But we have to understand that those enemies are a result or an effect of a projection onto the screen of space of your own guilt. So we have to take care of the guilt first. And infinite intelligence doesn't see you as guilty. Infinite intelligence does not condemn you. And until you get that, you're going to keep reintroducing new reasons why you need punishment in this world, even if you're not conscious of that. Yea, let none that wait on thee be ashamed. Let them be ashamed which transgress without cause. So to transgress without cause is the ego mind. The ego has no reason for allowing, the ego has no reason from the point of view of infinite intelligence of doing what it does and thinking what it thinks. The ego thinks, I've got to be separate. I've got to be separate. I've got to be separate. I've got to carve out an identity that's separate from infinite intelligence, that's separate from this soul, because I want to show how independent I am. And what that is faulty, sick thinking, because that does not show independence. What that shows is you get to have the effects of a thought system that is thinking about you in every way that you're not. The only way that it can carve out an identity that's separate from all good is to prove how not good you are. And that is where that guilt comes from, because guilt is the ego's main tool. If you can feel guilty and it can convince you that you're guilty, it's got you. So until we are willing to give up that guilt and allow the ego to have the guilt, because that's where the guilt belongs, we are going to constantly have the same kinds of results that we've been having over and over and over again. Show me thy ways, O Lord, teach me thy paths. Now, the ways of the Lord, the paths of the Lord are the ways of your soul. And that's where you really want to be. And that's where all of your success is programmed, and success on every level. Yes, I mean, success doesn't only mean like success in business, but that's there too. It means success as a soul. So your mission in life, why you came here, all of the things you came here to be, do, have, and express, those are the ways of the Lord. That's the paths of the Lord. Lead me in thy truth and teach me, for thou art the God of my salvation. On thee do I wait all the day. So you were given an internal guidance system at your creation, especially once the ego started to act out. Once the ego acted out and you decided to create this separate self, to believe that you're separate from infinite intelligence responded to that. It didn't just say, okay, well, have at it. Nothing I can do about it. I wash my hands of you. No. Infinite intelligence is always compassionate, is never going to leave you without a way out of there. It's that Ariadne's thread when she went into the labyrinth to meet the Minotaur. There's always a way back home. And that's what you were granted with as soon as you decided that you wanted to build this separate universe, separate and distinct from infinite intelligence. We all did it. We all did it at once. It's called the fall in biblical stories, but every kind of culture, every kind of spiritual discipline has some version of that. And what you were given was an inner guide, a spirit guide, if you will, GPS system, if you will. So you can always find your way out of this illusory world that the ego has created for you by listening to the instruction from infinite intelligence that was given to you. So it says, lead me in thy truth and teach me, for thou art the God of my salvation. On thee do I wait all the day. So we say, how do I get out of this? I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. You do. You do know what to do. It's just that your ego has you snowed. So all you do is listen to that inner guidance. You learn how to listen intuitively and stop listening to the chatterings of your mind, because the ego doesn't understand intuition. The ego can never become intuitive, because the ego is a thought system based on tension. And the only way to be intuitive is to relax. So this is telling you right in this verse to relax and listen to that inner guidance, that still small voice, all day long. Remember, O Lord, thy tender mercies and thy loving kindnesses, for they have been ever of old. So even though we're saying to infinite intelligence, remember how good you are, infinite intelligence doesn't need to remember how good infinite intelligence is. Infinite intelligence is the force of all good. This is a literary device for us to remember that all good comes from infinite intelligence, that force that we are connected to, and that's the reality of our experience. And as we allow ourselves to connect with and contemplate on this mercy, this loving kindness, which is depicted on the Hermetic tree of life as sphere number 4, ruled by Jupiter, when we contemplate all of those things, that becomes the lens through which we see the world. And that's why things tend to miraculously work out for us, not because there was some change in the order of the universe, but because we are now seeing things through the lens or through the eyes of spirit rather than through the eyes of the ego. And how we see things is the determiner of how things manifest for us. So it can seem like things miraculously change in our circumstances. And it's true, they do, but the reason is very simple. It's because we are looking at the world through sane eyes rather than through the insanity of the ego. Remember not the sins of my youth, nor my transgressions. According to thy mercy, remember thou me for thy goodness' sake, O Lord. So, infinite intelligence doesn't keep a tally of everything you've ever done wrong, and every mistake you've made, and every time that you've screwed up, and any time you've done anything that your ego wants to convince you is evil, bad, and deserving of punishment. Even if on an objective level what you did was really bad from society's perspective, even if it's really that bad, infinite intelligence doesn't have that in it. It doesn't see you that way. Infinite intelligence doesn't see degrees of good and bad. It just sees truth. And anything that's not truth, it doesn't recognize. It knows that you recognize it. It knows you're in a bad nightmare. It gets that you're not happy. But infinite intelligence doesn't see your nightmare like you do. Think about if you have a puppy that's starting to go, into a nightmare, and you know what a dog is like when they're having a nightmare. They scream and they yelp and they run. You don't know what they're seeing. You just know that they're not happy. So you can gently wake them up to relieve them from that nightmare. Same thing here. That's what it is. Infinite intelligence doesn't know all of the craziness of your nightmare because it's not real. It doesn't see that. It doesn't see your nightmare. What it sees is that you're in distress and that you don't need to be. So it's not remembering the sins of your youth. It's not made a tally of every bad thing in your dreams. It's just recognizing that you're a pure, innocent child of wonder and loves you the same as when you were created, as the same that you will always be loved by this force, and wants nothing for you but healthy, happy, harmonious, successful experiences. Good and upright is the Lord, therefore will he teach sinners in the way. It's the same way. You're going to gently get awakened from this dream that you're bad. The reason why we make mistakes and do bad things is not because we're bad people. It's because we're listening to the wrong voice. We're listening to that voice of our ego mind that wants to lull us deeper and deeper and deeper into a nightmare to try to prove to us that we are separate from infinite intelligence. But the thing is, you can't be separate from infinite intelligence even when you try real hard. You can't. No matter how bad your behavior is, no matter how much evidence you can come up with, it's still only happening within the realm of a nightmare because there's either truth or not truth, and God only sees you as true. the way you were created. And God's judgment of you is that you are so amazing, fabulous, wonderful. Yeah, you're having a bad dream, but he wants to wake you up from that bad dream. Or they want to wake you up from that bad dream is a better way. Because there is no gender with infinite intelligence. It's pre-gender. I don't want to say there's no gender. It's pre-gender. There's no separation of gender. It's a working battery. It's got a positive and a negative side to it. It's got a male and a female side to it. The meek will he guide in his judgment, and the meek will he teach his way. It's a secret. The way that you find infinite intelligence's voice to guide you out of any problem is to become meek. Meek does not mean weak and victimized. Meek simply means peaceful and wise. So the more you can relax your body, relax your mind, and listen to that still, peaceful, small voice deeply within you that's underneath all of the screams and cries of the ego mind and the racing thoughts of your surface mind. The more you can do that, the more quickly and easily you are led out of the nightmare and led out of any problem that you think is before you. Because, that's the ego's way of keeping you stuck, is it tries to convince you there's no way out of this problem. You're screwed. This problem is not solvable. There's no hope for you. That's what the ego's tool is. Infinite intelligence doesn't see anything that way, because just like infinite intelligence doesn't see you in degrees of good or bad, it only sees you as perfect. It also doesn't see problems as being difficult and easy. It's all the same. It's all the same. So no matter how bad your problem is, infinite intelligence doesn't see it as bad or difficult. It just wants to relieve you from the nightmare of it. Okay. All the paths of the Lord are mercy and truth unto such as keep his covenant and his testimonies. So no matter where infinite intelligence leads you, it's going to be good. There's no you're going to have to go through this bad thing first. I'm going to test you. I'm going to take you into painful areas just to see how you do. That's not how infinite intelligence works. Infinite intelligence only gets you to wake up gently from the dreams and the nightmares. Doesn't send you into new nightmares. So all the paths of the Lord are mercy and truth unto such as keep his covenant and his testimonies. How do you keep the covenant and the testimonies of infinite intelligence? By listening to the still small voice within you. So when intuition from infinite intelligence tells you where to go, what to do, how to act, what to say, you do it. Instead of listening to the fearful thoughts of your ego mind, which are always tense and filled with racing raucousness. You know it's infinite intelligence if it's happening within the realm of what they're calling meek here. In other words, your body is relaxed, your mind is relaxed, you're at peace. So getting that relaxation and peace is the way that you turn up the volume on the voice of infinite intelligence. That's that inner guidance. For thy name's sake, O Lord, pardon mine iniquity, for it is great. The secret here, infinite intelligence never condemned you. So infinite intelligence doesn't have to forgive you. That's really important to get. You never did anything wrong. Remember that song from the 60s by Greenbaum, Spirit in the Sky? Which was so funny because it was sort of like this born-again Christian anthem that got to pop radio, but the songwriter was not Christian at all. It's just writing the song. Anyway, the only line out of that song that is important here is, I've never been a sinner. I've never sinned. Now, that doesn't mean that you haven't made mistakes. That doesn't mean that you haven't done things in this world which have caused you and other people problems. It means that this world isn't what you think it is, and that infinite intelligence doesn't look at you through the lens of your mistakes. Infinite intelligence looks at you through the lens of the truth of who you are, which is a soul. And the soul never did any of those things. So infinite intelligence doesn't need to forgive you, but you need to change your orientation from that of being mistake, 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 error, error, sin, sin, guilt, guilt, which is the ego's way, onto the path of infinite intelligence, which is peace and truth and innocence. Righteousness, they call that in the Psalms. Right thinking, right acting, listening and being guided by those, the voice of infinite intelligence, that inner guidance system that happens through peace. What man is he that feareth the Lord? Him shall he teach in the way that he shall choose. The man or the person, the soul, the individual that fears the Lord is the one that experiences the presence of the infinite. We did a lecture on presence last Sunday, and that should be out maybe on Monday as a downloaded video. But you can go back, if you don't want to wait for that, you can go back and listen to last Sunday's lecture on presence. The presence is the fear. When you're afraid of the Lord, it doesn't mean that when you have the fear of the Lord, it doesn't mean you're afraid of God. It means that you're experiencing the intensity of its presence. It's all power. All power can overcome any obstacle, no matter what it is. And that's the fear of the Lord, is that you're experiencing that rather than all of the reasons why you can't have this problem solved. Because it's like a lightning flash. In a flash, your problem can be solved. His soul shall dwell at ease, and his seed shall inherit the earth. So the person who's experiencing the presence of infinite intelligence, that brings you great peace. And it says that his seed shall inherit the earth. That means that peaceful oneness with infinite intelligence creates new causes right in your physical universe, which makes everything change. The problems get solved, and you become happy here. All of those bad dreams turn into happy dreams until the time when you can wake up. You're not going to wake up all of a sudden from a nightmare into the truth. That would make you even more afraid. Instead, what's going to happen is your seed shall inherit the earth, meaning everything's going to start working out for you here. And we start having a peaceful experience here. And things work for us in ways that we didn't think possible. And then once this world starts to reflect the truth of the world of infinite intelligence, then we wake up. And it's nice and gentle and peaceful. The secret of the Lord is with them that fear him, and he will show them his covenant. So when you are at peace, you are receptive to those instructions by infinite intelligence through that inner guidance system that you have. And nothing is withheld from you. Every secret that you need to know is shared with you. Mine eyes are ever toward the Lord, for he shall pluck my feet out of the net. That's the trick right there. If your feet are in a net, rather than trying to get your feet out of the net, which is a symbol for being ensnared in this ego thought system of fear and guilt, what you do is you pivot your attention and you turn your attention to one of the qualities of infinite intelligence, to start thinking about the infinite, start thinking about God instead of your problem. And when that happens, it's as if infinite intelligence plucks you out of your problem. But it's not so much really that's what happens. What happens is you start seeing the world through the eyes of infinite intelligence, and therefore the effects in the world change. Turn thee unto me and have mercy upon me, for I am desolate and afflicted. So acknowledging what you're feeling is part of the magic of Psalms. We don't pretend like everything's cool and just do positive affirmations and hopefully, if we stuff the negative feelings way down deep until we can stand on them, then maybe we'll have new effects. That's not how magic works. The way that the Psalms work is ingenious, is it brings everything up so we get to deal with it. So we're dealing with the fact that you're desolate and you're afflicted. We're not faking anything. We're not pretending we don't have this emergency or whatever this problem is. But what we are doing is telling the truth about the fact that we don't know how to solve it, and that we are turning to the solution, which is infinite intelligence. And that connection with infinite intelligence does solve the problem for us. Because like I said, the infinite doesn't see that as like, ooh, that is such a hard problem. I think you've stumped me. I don't think I can deal with this one. That's really hard. Can you give me something easier? That's not how it works. Infinite intelligence says, whatevs. It's all the same to me, right? The troubles of my heart are enlarged. Oh, bring thou me out of my distresses. We are lamenting again, which is an important part of the process. So dig down deep. It's like, what's the problem? What is it? What are your complaints? What is the emergency? What is it? You bring it all up and you bring it to infinite intelligence and allow it to be healed for you. Now it says, look upon mine affliction and my pain and forgive all my sins. Now, forgive all my sins. Again, we've told you that infinite intelligence doesn't need to forgive you because infinite intelligence never condemned you. But when it says it here, like we said, we're bringing it all up and bringing it to the healer, to that healing force. Forgiving your sins is healing you, meaning I'm going to turn your mind around. I'm going to turn your mind around so that you can see the truth and you can see what this is from my point of view. When you see what it is from my point of view, you're going to laugh at how easy this is. It's going to be so easy, and you're going to get up and all will be well. Consider mine enemies, for they are many, and they hate me with cruel hatred. So all of your enemies may be in the physical world, and those enemies may or may not be people. They can be situations, they can be habits, they can be people, they can be relationships, jobs, whatever those enemies are. But we recognize that those are manifestations of enemy thought forms which exist within that habit of thinking that you, like all the rest of us, have fallen into, which is something we call the ego mind. And so we are asking infinite intelligence to consider this legion of enemies within and without us and take care of it for us. Isn't it nice to know we don't have to know how to fix all of that? We would be doomed if it were up to us, but we're not. It's not. I like how it talks about how they hate me with cruel hatred. That's the ego. Never underestimate the depths of hatred that the ego has for us, for you. That's your own self-loathing that the ego mind came up with. You know, that is hatred, trying to prove to you how bad you are, trying to disconnect you from your source. That's hatred. But the good news about all of that, it's not real. The ego's not real. It manifests as real, and there's no bottom to how much that hatred can express itself. But at its heart, it's nothing. It's literally nothing but a habit, and it has no power if we don't allow ourselves to think along those lines. So now we are pivoting away from that depth of hatred that the ego has for us and other people, and we're not participating in it anymore. We're making the choice to actually turn our mind to that other voice within us that teaches us the truth, that the ego doesn't exist and there's nothing to fear. There's no hatred. Oh, keep my soul and deliver me. Let me not be ashamed, for I put my trust in thee. So again, cleanse me from my guilt. Cleanse me from these thoughts of guilt and shame. Allow me to know who I am as a soul rather than all of this nonsense that I've come to believe myself to be. And help me sort through it. And to deliver you means that you don't have to deliver yourself. You don't have to. You just have to be the student. You don't have to be the teacher. You have to just listen and do what you're taught, and you'll get the results that you want to get. Can you imagine going to a piano teacher, not really knowing how to play the piano, and they're telling you how to finger and do this and do that. You're like, I don't think that's the way it should be. I think it should be like this. Wouldn't that be silly? You go into this piano master and you telling the piano master how to play the piano, even though you are clueless. Well, that's what we're like sometimes with infinite intelligence. No, I don't think you understand. It really should be this way. So let's stop doing that. Let integrity and uprightness preserve me, for I wait on thee. Integrity and uprightness is saying, I understand that you're the piano teacher and I want to learn how to play the piano. So I'm going to take the lessons and I'm going to do what you tell me to do because I trust you. Because I think you know more than I do. Not because you're the authority over me and I have to do what you say or I'm a bad boy or a bad girl. It's because I want to be good at this. So I'm coming to you enthusiastically. Please show me, please teach me. I want to be good at this. Then it ends with, redeem Israel, O God, out of all his troubles. All of them. What's redemption? To redeem something is to call it back. So if you're making an essential oil, if the alchemist is making some kind of distillation, let's say you're distilling some essential oil, what you do is you have all this steam in with all of this fragrant material, and that steam then condenses, and you have to separate the water from the oil, and you're redeeming the oil from the plant. And so everything that's part of your soul, infinite intelligence is redeeming from all of these situations. And everything that's not like your soul is discarded, just like in a distillation. So you just keep coming back to this same psalm over and over again until you start getting a sense of peace and certainty about your situation. And that's an indication to you that your spell has been cast. And you can move off of this and move on to something else. Thank you so much for spending some time with me today. I so appreciate you. Until next time, blessed be. Oh my, that took a little bit longer than I thought. I don't think we have any questions, so I hope that you can join us in a few minutes over on the YouTube channel, my main YouTube channel, Ariel Gatoga, and for the premiere for the next Psalm video from last week. So I hope to see you there. Thank you so much for being here today, and thank you so very much to our amazing moderators, Shirley and Deline. And we'll see everybody next week for another Psalm. Blessed be.